Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, the Crazy Trader, and I'm here again with your favorite stock review. Like I always say, scared money don't make no money, and you always gotta risk it to get the biscuit. As you always know, I'm not a professional financial advisor, so don't take my word for it. This is just for educational and informational purposes only. Okay. Today, my portfolio is not doing too good. Sideways. I don't know why I keep saying that, but my portfolio is actually doing great. It's still just doing sideways because the market is very choppy, and a choppy market is, it's okay for me because my portfolio has remained in the same range between the 109 to the 114 region for a very long time, depending on which stocks go up and which stocks come down. So I'm not really bothered about how my portfolio is performing right now because it's still up in a $100,000 range, which is amazing for me. Okay. I'm going to talk about a stock that I spoke about just like 3 days ago, which is going to be Neo, because most of the stocks that I hold, a lot of almost all of them are down. There's a few of them that are trading sideways, but Neo did the significant thing of going up 5%. Robinhood is down 3.6%, Palantir 1.7%, Apple 2.3%. I don't know if Apple is a buy yet, but I'm holding off on it for a minute. But Neo is actually pulling up the magic. Like the magic actually is coming from Neo, which is very interesting because this stock has been beating down for a very long time, and I've always liked the stock. I used to buy $5, not five, $20 every day, for a while until I got to the 500 shares range. Now I'm contemplating whether to maybe make it 1,000 shares because I can, because 1,000 shares is just gonna be me investing $5,000 in Neo. As of now, I'm just invested like what 2,500 because it's $5 a piece, but I'm going to wait it out because this stock has been beating down for like for a very long time. It's down about 90% or 80% from its all-time high. As you can see, my return on investment on this stock is actually 17.3%, $441. Yeah, I like it, but I think Neo is gonna go up more, so I'm going to still hold on to it. The price is as of now is $5 80 cents, 86 cents, which is pretty nice, especially coming from the past. That from the past week is down 21%. Look at that. It came from 488 all the way to 586. 21%. That's a lot. That's $1 on each stock. 21%. You're not going to get that kind of average anywhere else, unless the stock market, honestly. Just for a week. Let's look at the company. Let's look at a little bit of the basics of the company. The market cap is $12.6 billion. 52-week high is $8. PE ratio minus 5.7. And Neo stock, Neo jumped 5%. China EV underdog finally turning the corner. I feel like Neo is actually turning the corner because this is the first time it ever made profit. So I want to read this quick article before I get out of your hair real quick. Why shares of Neo stock saw 21% this week? You could see. Well, let's go over the key points. Neo's deliveries are soaring because of a hit new SUV, which they have, a new SUV that is, I think people really like. So people are actually buying them. The company generated positive net income for the first time ever. Positive net income. This net income, not gross income, positive net income for the first time ever. After they took off all their liabilities and everything, they made a profit. They made a profit. Okay. So that's pretty good. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was like $40 million. But if you follow this company, they've burned through billions and billions and billions of dollars. So it's finally, nice to see this company turn a profit. Okay. And turning a profit is actually really good, especially in the Chinese market. It operates in a hyper competitive electric vehicle market in China with companies like Li, BYD. There's so many Chinese electric vehicles that are competing in the Chinese market for you. So if you're able to make a profit, it's very actually insane. Xpeng, Li, BYD, Xiaoming, everybody is actually in the electric car market right now, and they have cheaper versions and cheaper models. Neo is actually in the kind of upper grade models a little bit. They are more into the luxury market. They have a few for the regular guys, which is the average Joes, which is Envo. That's a different brand. Envo and Firefly. It's a different brand, but it's still attached to Neo. Okay, so I'm going to read this article real quick just before I dip. Shares of Nio have soared 21.3% this week, according to data from S&P Global Market Intelligence. An electric vehicle maker in China, Nio produced strong delivery growth in the fourth quarter, in Q4 2025, and is finally generating a profit. This is the most important, point to prove. It's finally generating a profit. Finally, the first profit that they've done. The stock remains down over 90% from its all-time high. So the stock remains down over 90% from its all-time. So it kind of, it makes, sense to buy as of now, since it was high even when they were burning, money. And now that they're generating profit, it's still down over 90%, which is good. Accelerating demand in Q4 2025, news revenue growth began to accelerate. Revenue grew 76% year over year to just under $5 billion, which is a good company. So while the company finally generated a net profit of 40 million in the period, for like 40 million, not too much, but profit is profit. Instead of getting a loss, $40 million profit is better than burning through cash. The company's new ES8 is driving volume growth, which is a large SUV with a higher average selling price and better margins. Total deliveries were approximately 125,000 in Q4, up from 73,000 in the same period a year prior. So a year prior, in the fourth quarter, the orders were just 73,000. Now it's 125,000. Guidance calls for more growth in Q1 with expectations of 80 to 83,000 deliveries, which would be close to double the previous year's volume. The company is growing. It's actually growing. You can see the fundamentals growing. I remember a statement that Jeff Bezos made in an interview, and he was saying he remembers a time when the Amazon stock price was so down, but everything in the company was growing. That's when he knew that the company was doing really well. Even though the stock price was so beating down to the bottom, everything in their company was actually growing. The numbers were actually growing. They were making profits. They were retaining, customers. They were retaining employees and everything. So it was an amazing time at that time. Total deliveries were up and down. After years in the doldrums, Neo finally has products that are helping it scale and generate profit. So which is good. And actually, they're really expanding into um, the European markets, which is pretty good. I'm hoping that they are able to make it into African markets, and then the American market. Okay, so those markets are also, especially the Firefly and Envo, into the African market, and then the Neo itself into the American markets. Those are markets that are also very lucrative, even though people overlook them. Okay, should you buy Neo stock even after this stock bump? Neo is still down significantly from its all-time high set during the 2021 stock market EV craze. Its deliveries are growing as it targets the ginormous automotive market in China. However, investors should be cautious when buying a stock in a foreign country that is economically more difficult to understand, which is true. The automotive sector in China remains hyper competitive with frequent price wars. For Neo, right now, it's a time to shine. But in the future, another EV competitor could start to undercut it. You know, I think buying any stock in China, any Chinese stock, is very dangerous and risky, because just one news on all the government clamp down and the company goes down. So be careful. Just treat it as a high risk, high return kind of thing if you want to buy it. But Neo is actually a pretty good company, pretty solid company. They deliver some good cars, and I think they're doing pretty well. I have Neo. I have 500 and 10 shares of it. I'm hoping, if I look at it, if it comes down again, maybe under five, I'll buy some more. I honestly think it's time for me to start buying some more if it comes down some more. But from here, I hope that the sky is the limit for Neo, because it's done so well and it's made me a lot of money. So I'm gonna keep this stock in my portfolio for a while. Anyways, I don't want to waste too much of your time. Stay safe and stay blessed. Peace.